I missed that, Jay. What is that?
No. I was just trying to see if my everyone, Shubhodaya to all the Jijnasu. This is a Bhagavad-Gita Pratipadartha. We meet every Saturdays, 5 p.m. India time, and for about 90 minutes, we look at the word by word meaning of the shloka. We are currently at shloka number 22 of the first chapter. We will try and see how many shlokas we can cover from this point onward. Uh, we'll, we'll begin now. I think it's good to begin. The replays are on, everything is fine. Okay, we'll begin now. Harihi Om. नारायणाय परिपूर्णगुणार्णवाय विश्वोदयस्थितिलयो नियतिप्रदाय ज्ञानप्रदाय विबुधासुरसौख्यदुःखसत्कारणाय वितताय नमो नमस्ते नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये देवं नारायणं नत्वा सर्वदोषविवर्जितं परिपूर्णं गुरुंश्चागीतार्थं वक्ष्यामि देशतः हरिः ओम्. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bhagavad-Gita Pratipadartha session. We run two sessions under the Purushottama Yoga Club. We meet every morning, 6 o'clock in India time, where we chant about 100 slokas of Bhagavad-Gita every day. And this is done in a fashion where it provides guidance to people who are uninitiated to recitation. And it's a good opportunity for people who are familiar with recitation to be part of a samohika, a community chanting, a samohika parayana. We stress a lot on getting the pronunciation right. We do a lot in terms of getting the pronunciation right in as much of a bhavatmaka way as possible, because when we do that, we will be able to locate the words a little more accurately. And once we start locating the words accurately, we do realize that these words are familiar to us. And the more we chant, maybe in a 6 months' time or maybe in a year's time, many of us who have been part of this journey started about little over 3 months ago. We might even end up by hearting, memorizing the entire Bhagavad Gita. While it is not
Bhaktaji, can you be
compulsory,
louder, please?
is it any better? Is it very feeble for everyone?
No. For me, it's quite okay. Pravinaji, I think it's locally your connection is to be checked, or
Okay.
your volume is to be checked.
No, my volume is full. Okay.
For me, the voice is good.
So while by hearting of Bhagavad Gita is not something that is compulsory, the whole purpose behind why we do what we do is that once we start looking at the words, once we get familiar with the words, and then when we follow this up with the Pratipadartha understanding, word by word understanding of the Bhagavad Gita shloka, we only try to provide the basic understanding of the words. Now that will empower us to proceed with the Adhyatma journey on our own. It is a well-known fact. It's being testified by many greats who have come to this Bharatavarsha, many great munis, many great yatis, many great Jagadgurus that have come to this Bharatavarsha, that the more we recite, the more we chant, the more we contemplate, there are many different gudharthas, multi-layered, deep meanings that will start unraveling. There are some great acharyas who have alluded to the fact that every shloka of Bhagavad Gita has a minimum 10 legit meanings to them. And these 10 legit meanings, they hover around primarily the material plane, the Adi Bhautika plane, a few in the Adi Daivika plane, the celestial plane, and a few in the transcendental, the Adhyatmika plane, or the spiritual path. There are different ways in which we understand these terms. The itihasic, the as-is plane, the moral plane, and the transcendental or the spiritual plane. There are different ways in which people understand the three different planes, but there are acharyas who have alluded to the fact that there are minimum 10 legit meanings for each of the shlokas. What we try to do is not to get there. We only try to get to the meaning, the core meaning. So far, we have looked at 21 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. The way we can understand these last 21 slokas could be that the first sloka can be one section, The premise to the first shloka is that the impossible has occurred in the event. Bhishmacharya's fall is not probable. Bhishmacharya is infallible. The infallible has fallen. Bhishmacharya has fallen. A lot of inquiry goes on from Dhritarashtra, the blind king, to Sanjaya in terms of what happened. After a lot of explanation from Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra finally asks, that is where we come to the first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Okay, everyone is bound by dharma. They are all in Dharma Kshetra. Everyone is now in their ultimate moment of reckoning in terms of performance. Kuru is do, right? So Kurukshetra, in Kurukshetra, which is the ultimate field of performance. So everybody is bound by dharma, is bound to their duty, and everybody is in their field of performance. Mamakaha, my people, and Pandavaha, the people of Pandu's side. That also underlines that there is a Mamakara versus Buddhi coming to play. Panda. Panda is it's an element of the Buddhi, right? Pande, Pandita. These words signify intelligence. So there is also Mamakara, the Ahankara versus the intelligence coming to play. Subtle, very subtle. Right? And then Yuyutsavaha, they're all eager to fight again. These are all the qualities that Sanjaya explains. Right? So all of these people are there. They are eager to fight. They are all bound by dharma. There are my people, there are sons of Pandu. And they are all bound by dharma. They are in their ultimate field of performance. What did they do? ... Implied meaning is that Bhishmacharya fell. The inquiry is still, how did the infallible occur? Right? So that is the first shloka, which we can briefly signify as the break of the inertia. How does the inertia break? When we look into the laws of motion, inertia can only be broken by an external force to act otherwise. Right? Newton's law says every body continues to be in a state of rest or continuous motion unless compelled by an external force to act otherwise. And here we know very well that the external force is the providence, because just before the start of this Bhagavad-Gita, Adhyaya number 1, which is the 25th Adhyaya of Bhishma Parva, there is a lot of reverberation of this statement, Yato Krishna Tato Jaya. So wherever there is Krishna, there is Jaya. So providence is in the same field, right? So that is the first shloka. First shloka is primarily denoting one section of the story within the Bhagavad-Gita, which is the inertia has broken. And this is exactly what we tend to understand, right? Infallible has fallen, the inertia has broken. Then the first, shloka number 2, from the time when Sanjaya Uvacha occurs, till about shloka number 14 or so, we did see that it was all about how edgy was the beginning to the war from the Kaurava side. Everything is going upside down. Duryodhana, instead of staying in the chariot, he jumps off the chariot. His sense of proportion is completely upside down. What is Chamu? What is Anikam? Everything is going upside down. Anikam is 1/10 of an Akshohini Sainya, and Chamu is 1/3 of an Akshohini Sainya. The piece that Sanjaya calls as Anikam, Duryodhana is calling it as Chamu. So the sense of proportion is going upside down. What is his army? He's calling it as that army. And what is their army? He's calling it as this army. So the sense of direction is also, sense of ownership is also going upside down. So there is a lot of edginess, right? There is a lot of upside down kind of a feeling. This is what we, in the beginning, before we started this, we tried to look into the sneak peek of the Bhagavad-Gita through the Purushottama Yoga. And the Purushottama Yoga begins with the Urdhva Moola Madaha Shakam. One of the ways of understanding Urdhva Moola Madaha Shakam, the roots are on the top and the branches are below, is that this is an upside down tree. This tree of life is an upside down tree, which means change is possible. Everything goes upside down. So in the first few shlokas where we hear Sanjaya explaining to Dhritarashtra, things are all going upside down, right? His unlimited army is seemingly insufficient. Their limited army is seemingly very, very sufficient. Upside down. Okay, the one who's not supposed to be a commander-in-chief, he's referring to him to be like the chief body. Again, he's completely, filled with fear. He's looking at Bhima and it's all looking fearful. The children, the old people, people of the same generation, everyone is seeming to be Maharata. Again, very, very upside down. Duryodhana, he is the king to be for an army, and his army has about 11 Akshauhini Sainyas, but he couldn't name more than 7 people on his side. Whereas a smaller army, he's able to name some 18 people on their side. Right? When he's recollecting the number of people, the kind of people, he could recollect a lot more people. Everything is upside down. The sense of proportion is upside down. Reading the numbers are upside down. Okay, his stability is upside down. Everything is gone. So the first few slokas, and then when we look into the situation, he is going to rant in front of Dronacharya instead of addressing Bhishmacharya. Again, things are going upside down, right? Dronacharya, instead of calming him, he is maintaining radio silence. So there is a lot of nervousness in Dronacharya. I mean, I don't know. There is some kind of psychological deficiency because as an acharya, he can calm Duryodhana down. It's another debate whether it is worth it or not. But he could at least try. But what does Dronacharya react with for all the ranting and raving happening from Duryodhana? Absolute silence. Right? Dronacharya is absolute silence. What does Bhishmacharya do for all the ranting? To the extent where he is taunting him. Duryodhana is taunting Bhishmacharya, who's just next to Dronacharya, by telling Dronacharya that you people all should be, from wherever you are, you should get off and please just protect Bhishmacharya. And what is Bhishmacharya's reaction to that? He fuels the ego further. To keep him happy, he blows the conch, makes a lion's roar. He could even calm him down because he is the Kuru Vruddha. He is the grand old sire of the Kuru dynasty, right? He's like a Pitamaha for Duryodhana. But he doesn't do that. So, what is the Stira Buddhitva of people out there? Maybe it is all across. It's a very tense moment. It's perhaps the biggest event happening in the Bharatavarsha. Everyone's stakes are very, very high. The edginess is across the table. It's not just Duryodhana, it's not just Arjuna, it's not just Bhishmacharya, it's not just Dronacharya. There is a lot of edgy behavior coming from all. And this is quite well signified when what follows Bhishmacharya's lion's roar and the blowing up of the conch. When Bhishmacharya signals the war by blowing up his conch, the entire Kaurava side, it kind of plays chorus into a cacophony, complete cacophony. Tumuno Vinunadi, Tashabdas Tumuno Bhavatu. That is what I think we get to see in sloka number 14, sloka number 13. So till sloka number 13, we get to see, sloka number 2 to sloka number 13, we get to see, Tashabdas Tumuno Bhavatu. Tumuna is very tumultuous, very, very cacophonic kind of a sound. So that is the kind of an introduction we get to see from the Kaurava army. This is the update being narrated by Sanjaya. From shloka number 14 till about shloka number 21 is where we stopped, right, in the previous session. We did see that the Pandava beginning to the Kurukshetra war happens in a very, very divine way. The first words are so nice, Tata Shvetai Hayai Yukte Mahatis Yandane Sito Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyo Shankau Pradasmadu. The word Divya is there, Madhava is there, and Arjuna is referred to as the Pandava. Like Madhava is such a beautiful word. We looked at all these things. And then the kind of conches, the way the blowing up of the conch also happens by the Pandava side. One after the other. There are also very orderly playing into the thing. And then until the shloka number 18, we do see that there are 18 different conches being added, in a nice syncretic manner. And then, they actually pierce through the skies and the bhumi, Nabascha Prithivim Chaiva, and then Tumuno Vyanunadayam. They were trembling. While Tumula, the same word is used both in shloka number 13 and in shloka number 19. The first instance is describing the sound by the Kaurava side, and the second instance, the sound by the Pandava side. In the Pandava side, it's very clear. It is not cacophonic. It's very trembling. It is very fearful. It penetrated the hearts of the Kaurava army. And then we get to see, after shloka number 19, from shloka number 20 onwards, it's kind of a different section. We will see what happens. So we completed till 21. 21, what happens is, looking at all the army that is gathered on the other side, Arjuna utters his first words in the Bhagavad-Gita, not in Mahabharata, but within this Bhagavad-Gita, which we call as the first Adhyaya, right? This is the first Adhyaya, which is primarily 25th Adhyaya within the Bhishma Parva, right? So we should note that, this is not the first dialogue of Arjuna in the Bhishma Parva. There is a lot of interaction that has happened between between Bhagavan and Arjuna. In Shloka, in Adhyaya number 23, we get to hear a very nice Durga Stuti. Krishna tells Arjuna to pray to the Lord, Goddess Durga. And Durga grants him a lot of power. Durga is very, very pleased. And that is one of the instances where Sanjaya, while explaining all of this to Dhritarashtra, that word again comes, Yato Krishna Sato Jaya, Yato Dharma Sato Krishna, Yato Krishna Sato Jaya. We get to hear that as right. So there is a lot of conversation, but within Bhagavad-Gita, the way we know today, right, the first Adhyaya, which is the 25th Adhyaya of the Bhishma Parva, Arjuna says something to Krishna, which is basically, get me to the middle of the two sides. Now, what is the middle of the two sides? See, we are used to seeing a lot of pictures where one army is on the left and the other army is on the right? But let us understand this. One army is proceeding from the front to where I am, and one army is proceeding from where I am to the other side. It's going. So, if Arjuna is going from here towards the Kaurava side, as part of the entire pack of the Pandava army, and then the Kauravas are approaching from wherever they are and towards the Pandava side, because somewhere in the middle, the Akraman and things like that happen. Right? So, Senayor Madhya Samstapaya primarily means you please break the line. I want to go in the front. Right? So, that is basically what we need to understand. Arjuna, blessed by Durga's powers, brimming with the lot of Rajo energy, the passionate energy, and the explanation also coming very aptly by Sanjaya. He says, Pravritte Shastra Sampati in Shloka number 20, Asa Vyavasthitan Drishtva Dhartarashtan Kapidvaja. So he's got the blessings of Hanumanta Kapidvaja. So he's got Hanumanta in his flag. Pravritte Shastra Sampati Dhanu Rudyamya. He lifts his bow, Gandiva, he lifts with a lot of pride and goes forward in this advancing army. Right? So that is the description given. Okay, and then Arjuna tells Krishna, Sena Yorupayor Madhye, Ratam Stapaya Mechita. This is what we stopped at in the previous session. Okay, in between these two sides, please stop my chariot. What kind of a chariot? Mahati, a very big chariot, which are yoked by white horses. Tata Shweta Hayai Yukte Mahati Skandani. This is the kind of a chariot. Please stop me in between the two sides, which means break the line, go in the front. Go to the front, go ahead. Drishtadyumna is the commander-in-chief here, but let him be wherever he is. I want to go in the front. I want to see. What does he say in Shloka number 22? Yavadetan niriksheham yodhukamanavasthitan karmaya saha yodhavyam asmin rana samudyame. So there is a link pinned to the room. If you click on that link, it is basically one decent website. A website from the Aurobindo school, put together by a good gentleman, Professor Sampadananda. Quite decent, quite handy for what we try to do here. But wherever we think we need to be a little cautious about what is being spoken here, I think we will alert us. That shouldn't be a worry. But for the sake of ease of understanding, I think we can always use this web link. Okay, if you look at that, it is pinned to Shloka number 22, chapter number 1. Okay, if you scroll a little below, there is something called the Padacheda. Let's quickly look at Padacheda. Padacheda is basically, see, there are 3-4 different ways in which brevity, the economy of words are achieved, right? In Sanskrit, in Samskrita relies a lot on brevity. And brevity is a virtue. Like today, we always say that, his words are highly, highly measured. Right? This was a best practice across the society back then, right? The granthas wouldn't talk unnecessarily too much. So, in order to bring in that economy of words, one of the ways of achieving that is wherever sandhis are possible. Sandhi is basically the point of conjunction, right? When two things come together, there is a sandhi. There is a sandhya kala, when there is a between the dawn and the day, there is a sandhya kala. Between the day and the dusk, there is a sandhya kala. Right? So there are 4 different sandhya kalas in the day. Depending on which side the sun is rotating, in relation to the Earth's, horizon, right? So the sandhya, even the, and then there are Rahu and Ketu come together. There is a sandhi, Rahu Kuja sandhi. So sandhi is basically coming together of two, come together. So when two words come together, depending on whether swaras are coming in contact with swaras, okay, swaras are basically vowels. When they come in contact with each other, what kind of a change vyanjana comes in contact with another vyanjana, when either a vowel or a consonant comes in contact with another consonant, there are certain sandhis that will happen. There are certain modifications that will happen at the point of contact. And then we have something called the visarga. There is something called two dots, right? Aha, ramaha. This is a very common thing. Visarga undergoes different types of sandhi. I think we briefly spoke about this. Maybe the coming Sunday, or I don't know if it's possible, tomorrow it's too early. The coming Sunday, we will keep a class, a small, crash course on basics of these sandhis. There are three types of sandhis, and then we can quickly look at, basics of the sandhi for the ease of understanding. But when we say padacheda is basically split of these words. Wherever sandhis have been formed, padacheda tries to break them up. So let's see what. So yavat etam becomes yavad etam, yavad etam. Yavad etam. So yavat etam, yavad, the T becomes D. Yavad etam nirikshe, nirikshe aham nirikshe ham. So is kind of goes hiding. You don't actually say that loud. You just extend the word a, the previous nirikshe, by one extra matra. That is why we see the S mark in some of the text. We see the S mark. It's called the avagraha. Right? So we see that. Yavadeta niriksheham yodhu kaman vyavasthitan. Yodhu kaman avasthitan. Yodhu kaman avasthitan. Yodhu kaman avasthitan. There is no sandhi, it's just a samuha. Kaihi maya kair maya. So this is called the visarga sandhi. Kaihi, the two dot is becoming gr, reta, kaihi maya kair maya. Saha yodhavyam asmin rana samudyame. I think there are only three types of modifications. One is sa becomes the, yavadetam, nirikshe aham a goes missing, and kaihi maya kair maya. There are three types. Then little above that, you see something called the anvaya given. We'll just quickly see anvaya. Anvaya basically means that, see, in Sanskrit, by the virtue of very strict rules that, the prepositions are enjoined within the word itself, the noun itself, right? So even when we jumble the words, the meaning shouldn't go here and there. Meaning will be kept intact. Like I say, मैं घर जाऊंगा या घर मैं जाऊंगा. It doesn't make a difference. जाऊंगा मैं घर. In most of the Indian languages, that interchangeability, will make sure that the subject and the predicate are not so much corrupted. This is what happens in Sanskrit also, but we don't normally say ghar mein jaunga. Mein ghar jaunga is more like a proper prose order. Prose ordering is always, there is certain way in which we treat them conventionally, and that is what Anvaya tries to do. Anvaya tries to bring in the prose order of the various words that are contained in the Padacheda. Right? After doing the Padacheda, we get a set of words. So Anvaya for this shloka, okay, from this website, Yavat Yodhu Kaman Avasthitan Etan Aham Nirikshe Asmin Samudyame Kaihi Saha Maya Yodhavyam. So how do we make sense of this? If you come above, you get a link called the dictionary, right? If you click on the dictionary, very easy. Yavat. Okay, so that for what? He said, Senayohu Ubayor Madhya Ratam Sthapayamuchita. Take me to the middle of the two sides. Why? Because he's saying that Yavat, so that Yodhu Kaman Avasthitan. Okay, longing to fight, Yodhu Kaman, Kamana for the Yuddha. Yuddhe Kamana, Kamana लेते हुए अवस्थितान जो अवस्थित है, the ones who are standing, the ones who are situated, yodhu kama, the one longing for the battle, situated etan in, in Hindi, in, or ye sab, these, these people in bracket, these warriors, these warriors. Aham nirikshe, I may view. Nirikshe is also expectation, right? Niriksha. Aham nirikshe, that I can expect. Let me see who are the people that against whom, or among the people that are gathered here. I want to see. In their expectation. Asmin Rana Samudyame, in this fight, in this Rana Samudyame, in this holiday of fight is the literal meaning here. But Asmin, in this Rana is the battlefield, Samudyame, in the Udyama, Samudyame is basically the gathering, you can say, in this war gathering. Kaihi Saha, with whom, with Kaihi Taihi means whom, Saha along with, with whom, Maya, my Yodhavyam have to fight. My Yodhavyam means my fight happens. This is the kind of a meaning that. So he is basically telling in the previous sloka, in sloka number 21, and Arjuna says, take me to the middle of the two sides. Why? Because so that among the people who have gathered with a lot of intention to fight, let me see, let me have an expectation, let me have an anticipation as to with whom my fight will happen. Right? That's the kind of a, when you again click back to shloka and come down, Sri Aurobindo's interpretation, I wish to view these myriad standing, longing for battle, whom I have to meet in this holy day of fight. Okay, not holiday, holy day of fight. Samudhyami is basically holy gathering or nicely. So some is a very nice word, right? Some yet. It basically means nicely gathered. So in this nice gathering of the people who are longing to fight, among all the people that have gathered here, the myriad set of people, all the warriors, I want to see with whom I should expect myself to fight. Right? That's the kind of a meaning that we get. Right? So this is shloka number 22. Let's quickly move on to shloka number 23. योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहं य एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेर्युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः. So again we look at the Paracheda. Yotsyamanan avekshe aham. Yotsyamanan avekshe aham. So avekshe aham avekshe aham. So in aham goes missing. It becomes the S mark, which is basically a missing a. Wherever we see the S mark, we have to assume one akara went missing. Okay, we don't say avekshe aham, we just say avekshe aham. Ye ete becomes ya ete. The a becomes ya. Ya, ye ete becomes ya ete. Ete atra, etetra. Again, a in atra goes missing. Samagataha. Right? Dharta rashtrasya durbuddhehe yuddhe. Durbuddhehe yuddhe becomes durbuddher yuddhe. The visarga, durbuddhehe, two dots, ehe, becomes the retha. Durbuddher yuddhe priya chikirshavaha. So those are the sandhis, couple of them. Avekshe aham, avekshe aham, ye ete, ya ete, and ete atra, ete etra, and then durbuddhe yuddhe, durbuddhe yuddhe. Four of them. When we look into the Anvaya, Yuddhe Durbuddhe Dhartarashtrasya Priyachikirshavaha Ye Ete Atra Samagataha Yosyamanan Aham Avekshe. So let's see, there is Niriksha that comes in the previous shloka. Here we have Aveksha that comes in this shloka. Let us see what this Anvaya means. When we look into the dictionary, the Anvaya, the good part about this website is the dictionary comes in the same order as the Anvaya, not in the same order as the Shloka. Because when it comes in the same order as the Shloka, the trying to get a meaning around it becomes a little difficult. Right? So in the same order as Anvaya, getting to draw the meaning becomes a little easier. Yuddhe, in this battlefield, Durbuddhe Dhartarashtrasya, the evil-minded Dhartarashtra is Dhritarashtrasya Apatyam Kumar. Like how Vasudeva is Vasudevasya Apatyam Kumar. He is the son of Vasudeva. Right? So, Bharata's Apatyam Kumar is Bharata. Bharata comes from Bharata. Right? So we have something called the derivative. Right? These are the next progeny. Similarly, Dhritarashtra's son will be called Dhartarashtra. So even Duryodhana will be called as Dhartarashtra. Like he is a single Ekavachana, right? So Duryodhana can be Dhartarashtra. So Durbuddhe Dhartarashtrasya, of this Dhritarashtra's son who has a lot of Durbuddhi. That's the way we have to understand. Of this evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra, which is Duryodhana, right? So Yuddhe, of this Duryodhana's Priya Chikir Shavaha. Priya is fond, right? Chikir Shavaha. Kartu Michuhu, like, people who are very keen to, very happily, joining hands with him. Like, so Chikir Shavaha, well-wishers, like, people who are, very keenly partnering with Duryodhana. Like, so, see, this is the thing, right? A lot of people are common relatives of both the people, common relatives and common accomplices and common friends, so to say, right? Because this is a family duel. So obviously, a lot of political mindset, right? So see who are the people who are wishing well for this Durbuddhi Yukta Duryodhana. Who are the people who are looking for the good of Duryodhana? So that is the kind of a thing, right? So if they have accumulated 11 Akshauhiti Sainyas, let me see who are the people that have turned up for this Yuddha. It's the first day of the war. Remember, this is the first day of the war. This is a great moment of reckoning for the entire Bharata Varsha. There is a great saying that there is not a single non-partisan person in the entire Bharata Varsha during this war. Okay, people had to take sides. Everyone was compelled to take sides. Right? So that's the kind of a mobilization that happened in this war. So this guy is saying, Priya Chikechavaha, the well-wishers of Durbuddhe Dhartarashtrasya, of this Durbuddhi filled, son of Dhritarashtra. Ye eti, those who, atra, here, samagataha, have gathered, have come. Yotshyamanan, to those ready to fight. Yuttum ichaman, yutsuhu, yuddham, yuddhe ichuhu, right? So, Yotshyamanan, those who are ready to fight. Aham aveche, I look upon. See, this is the thing, right? Arjuna, this is subtle to note. There is a lot of iksha word, niriksha, aveksha in this statement. But just to quickly summarize what's happening in this shloka, Yotsyamanan aveksheham ya ete prasamagataha dhartarashtrasya durbuddhe yuddhe priyachikeshavaha. The meaning is pretty much like, if you look at the Sri Aurobindo's interpretation, I also want to look at those who have come here to support or champion the cause of the evil-minded Duryodhana, evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. So he's like, I want to see who are the people that have come, assembled here, with whom my fight will happen. I also want to see who are the people that are supporting this evil-minded Duryodhana. See, the family duel, right? There are common contacts, right? Common accomplices, common acquaintances. I really want to see who among them are here, supporting Duryodhana. So this is the first verse of Arjuna. Now, let's draw whatever we have to draw from why this statement is important. But for me, the most important thing about last 3-4 shlokas is that the word iksha comes very repeatedly. In shloka number 23, we just saw avekshe, in the previous one we say nirikshe, so there are many iksha words that keep coming, and also I think in shloka number so lot of iksha words coming in, yavadeta nirikshe aham, okay, yotsamanan avekshe aham, and okay, perfect. So these are so a lot of iksha words. So iksha is kind of giving an indication, lot of iksha words, kind of giving an indication that maybe he's getting a little indulgent, because we will see what happens in the next verse of Arjuna. Next we go, Sanjaya speaks now. Shloka number 24. This is Sanjaya Uvacha. Let me quickly read that out. Sanjaya Uvacha. Eva mukto hrishikesho gudakeshena bharata senayor madhye sthapayitva rathottamam. So shloka number 24 is pretty simple. Padacheda says Sanjaya Uvacha becomes Sanjaya Uvacha. So Visarga goes slopa. Sanjaya Uvacha, Sanjaya Uvacha. Evam Uktah Rishikeshaha Ukto Rishikeshaha. So Visarga becomes Okara. Rishikeshaha Gudakeshena becomes Rishikesho Gudakeshena. So there is another Sandhi in Visarga. Gudakeshena Bharata, no Sandhi. Senayoho Ubhayoho becomes Senayor Ubhayoho. So Oho, the Visarga becomes the Rekha. Senayor Ubhayoho. Ubhayoho Madhye Ubhayor Madhye. There is another Rekha. Visarga becomes Rekha. Madhye. Sthapayitva Ratha Uttamam Rathottamam. Though this is not a Sandhi, but this is a kind of a Guna Sandhi. A, U becomes O. Gita, Upanishad, Gita-Upanishad. He keeps saying that. Bhagavad-Gita. So Gita-Upanishad. He keeps saying that. A and U becomes O. That's another Guna Sandhi. We will see how the Anvaya sounds. Sanjaya Uvacha. He Bharata. Gudakeshena evam uktah hrishikeshaha ubhayoho senayoho madhye ratha uttamam sthapayitva ... Sthapayitva. we'll see that the Anvaya for this shloka gets completed with the next shloka is what it says. But let us quickly see what comes through this through till here. Hey Bharata, when we look into the dictionary in the same web page, right? When we come to the shloka number 24, come on top, we have the dictionary. Hey Bharata, Gurakeshena, by this Gurakesha. Gudakesha is Gudaka Isha, like person who has conquered the sleep, which is Arjuna. It's a description for Arjuna. By this Gurakesha, by this Arjuna, Evam Ukta, thus being spoken, but thus being addressed. Okay, Rishikesha. Rishikesha is again, we can maybe bring in Pravinaji to give a little more description about both Gudakesha and Rishikesha. Is Rishikanam Isha, the Lord of the senses. Okay, he is the one who has no problem with the senses. We all have problem with the senses, but this person has no problem with the senses at all. He has always got them under check. Who is that? Bhagavan Sri Krishna, right? Rishikesha, like Krishna, master of all the sense organs. Not just master, he is the Lord. They are always under his arena, always under his control. Ubhayoho senayoho madhi, in the middle of the two armies. Ubhayoho senayoho madhi, in the middle of the two armies. Ratha Uttamam, the supreme Ratha, like the best of the chariots. Sthapayatva, having stayed, having placed, having moved, like Sthapayatva, Sthapan karke, like Sthapayatva, Tva is like a karke, Gatva, having gone, Uktva, having spoken, like Sthapayatva, having placed, which means there is something else is coming. That's why it says the Anvaya gets completed with the next shloka. So I think when we look into the shloka, okay, Arjuna said, keep my chariot in the middle of the two sides, because I want to see who are the people that have gathered with whom I have to fight. I want to see who are the people that have come to support this evil-minded Duryodhana. So we heard that, right? So now Sanjay is continuing to provide the update to Dhritarashtra. What's the update? As to what happened in the battlefield. And why is he giving an update? Because Dhritarashtra is asking. Why is Dhritarashtra now suddenly asking? Because Bhishmacharya has fallen. He wants to know what happened. Did adharma come in? Did people abdicate the responsibilities? A lot of things are happening, right? So we continue to hear this. So Sanjay is giving an update, continues to give an update. Okay, so Evamuktva Hrishikesha Gudakeshena Bharata Senayor Bhayor Madhye Sapayitva Rathottamam. So he says, hey Bharata, Bharata Shrestha, O King, Dhritarashtra, thus addressed by Gudakesha, thus addressed by Arjuna, that one that has overcome the sleep. So Arjuna, see, one of the first qualities of Arjuna, this is Gurakesha, right, being described by Sanjaya. Rishikesha, the Lord of the senses, okay, stationed the best of the chariots in between the two armies and ... Because having placed, he did something. What does he do? We will see that in the next shloka. Shloka number 25. I'll quickly read this. Bhishma Drona Pramukataha. So, Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarvesham Chamahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyetan Samavetan Kuruniti. So the Padacheda says Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarvesham Chamahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashya Etam Samavetan Kuruniti. How does the Anvaya sound? It's again continuing from the previous one, right? So, Rathottamam Sthapayitva. That's where we stop. ... And Bhishma, Drona Pramukataha, Sarvesham, Mahikshitam Cha. Okay, Rathottamam Sthapayitva. Sarvesham, Mahikshitam Cha. He Partha, Samavetam, Etam Kurun Pashya. Iti Uvacha. Okay, so I think we get to see the first words of Krishna, but we don't see a Bhagavan Vacha in this shloka, okay, in this chapter. Okay, but these are the first words of Bhagavan in the Bhagavad-Gita, but it is not attributed because this is just a passing word from Krishna, right? So this is a nested conversation within Sanjaya Uvacha. So when we look into the dictionary, we will see that Bhishma Drona Pramukataha. Pramukata means in the front. Pramukataha means like in the forefront, with Bhishma and Drona as the forefront. Like Bhishma Drona Pramukataha, in front of Bhishma and Drona, or Bhishma and Drona being in the forefront. Sarvesham Mahikshitam, of all the princes of the earth, led by Bhishma and Drona, all the great princes that have gathered here, cha, okay, Samik Mahichitam, cha, okay, hey Partha, Samavetan, Etam Kurun, Pashya, iti uvacha. Cha, and hey Partha, O son of Pritha, Partha, again, like how Dhritarashtra sons are Dhartarashtra, similarly, Pritha's son is Partha, right? Partha, hey Partha, Eho son of Pritha, which is Kunti, hey Kaunteya, or Arjuna, Samavetan, the gathered together, Etan Kuru, these Kauravas, Pashya, look at them, Iti Uvacha, thus he spoke. So it's a very brief statement of Krishna, which is continuing from the previous sloka. Sanjay is basically telling, okay, hey Bharata, hey Dhritarashtra, we hear that, so Sanjay Uvacha, hey Bharata, Gurakeshena, Uktaha Hrishikeshaha, Ubhayoho Senayoho Madhye, Bhishmadrona Pramukataha, Sarvesha Mahichitam Pramukataha, Rathottamam Stapayitva, Partha, Etan Samavetan, Kurun Pashya, iti Uvacha. Means that, he basically, Sanjay is giving an update that, Krishna obliged. He is just simply playing the role of a small charioteer. Arjuna says, take my chariot in the middle. I want to see who are the people. And then Krishna does that very diligently. He takes them. In the front, we have Bhishma and Drona, and we have all the other princes. In front of them, he stops the chariot, and then he tells Arjuna, okay, look at these people who have gathered. Right? A quick interjection. Pravina Bhagini, would you like to say something around the name Rishikesha, Gurakesha? Any of the names? Any quick interjection?
Definitely, Bharataji. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes, so Rishikesha and Gurakesha have very, very interesting meaning. And why have they been used in the same sloka? Because Rishikesha basically means Rishika, Isha. Rishika, as Bharataji mentioned, is the indriyas, or all our sense organs, right? So the eyes, ears, nose, skin, taste, everything. So all these are under the control of Bhagavan. Therefore, he is Rishikesha. Not only his sensory controls, every single thing in the prapanjas, every single sensory organ or sensory control is in the hands of Bhagavan. Therefore, he is Rishikesha. Now, when we come to Gudakesha, it is Gudaka Isha. Now, Gudaka can mean Nidra, sleep. It is also the alasya, the laziness, right? Because Arjuna has won over sleep. He does not have to sleep. He can continue with his work irrespective of whether it is day or night. Therefore, he is Gudakesha. In fact, there is a story which says that once Bhima, when they all were young, Bhima was eating at midnight. We are not supposed to eat at midnight when everything is dark. But then Arjuna heard the sound of someone eating, and he would go there, and realizing that it is Bhima, he will ask, how come you are eating at night? You can't even see anything. How can you consume something when you can't see it? And then Bhima will say, no, it is my hand, it is my mouth. So I don't need any guidance. I can eat. So from there, Arjuna got this, idea that it is my hand, it is my bow. So why can't I practice even at night? So he started practicing, his Dhanur Vidya, so that he could, really excel irrespective of whether it is bright or dark, whether he uses his left hand or right hand. That is one reason he's called a Savya Sachin. So a lot of these traits was developed because of the episode, and therefore he's Gudakesha because he is won over sleep. And there are also many other interesting meanings for Rishikesha and Gudakesha. Uh, the According to this meaning, Rishikesha, who is controller of all the senses, Gudakesha, who has controlled his sleep, right? So the context could be like, to the person who's won over sleep, now Rishikesha is trying to help him control all his indriyas also, because Arjuna is now, really disturbed. All his indriyas are not under his control. So Rishikesha is giving Gudakesha all the lessons required in order to control his sense organs. So this could be one way of understanding it. There are also other meanings, which is like Rishika Isha can also be split as Rishi and Kesha. Kesha would mean the beautiful hair locks of Bhagavan. So what that would mean is Rishika, Rishi could mean pleasures. So pleasure and Kesha, how does this combine? So basically, it is mentioned that Bhagavan's Kesha, is the location for all the brightness in this entire world. All the luminaries get their luminosity from Bhagavan's Kesha. Even the Surya Chandra Kirana's radiance comes from Bhagavan's Kesha. And by illuminating everything, pleasure is given to everything in the universe. Therefore, this Bhagavan who is capable of giving that kind of pleasure is now giving the right awakening to Gurakesha. So that is another interpretation that some authors have actually given. And it could also mean, Rishikesha could mean straight hair, while Gudakesha could mean the hair which is like the cotton, like the curly hair. So that is yet another interpretation that's given. So there are a lot of meanings. In fact, Rishikesha is mentioned 7 times in Bhagavad-Gita, and every single time the meaning is slightly different. As far as this particular sloka is concerned, I think we can go ahead with the meaning of controller of senses and the one who's controlled the sleep. So that combination goes well. Thank you, Bharataji.
Thank you very much, Pravina Bhagini. Jai Shri Krishna. We'll quickly move on to sloka number 26. Sloka number 26 goes like this. Tatra pashyat sthitan partah pitrinatha pitamahan acharyan matulan dhratrin putran pautran sakin tatha shvashudan suhrudaschaiva senayorubhayorapi. They have given 6 lines to one combination. So let's keep them all. Let's see how the Padacheda sounds. If you come a little, scroll down a little below on the same web page. Tatra apashyat sthitan partah pitrin atha pitamahan acharyan matulan dhratrin putran pautran sakhin tatha. Sakhin tatha becomes sakhin tatha. There is a agama. There is a import of a new sound called sa, s, some slant in between, right? So that's the first sandhi that we see here. Sakhin tatha, sakhin tatha. S just like from nowhere, right? It's a sakara agama. Shvashura susudaha cha susudascha. So visarga chutva. Susudaha cha like ramaha cha ramascha. Bhavadhishmascha karnascha. We saw similar examples in the earlier sloka. Susudaha cha suhrudascha. Suhrudacha eva suhrudaschaiva. There's a vruddhi. Cha eva chaiva, like eka eka ekaika. Similarly, cha eva chaiva. Chaiva senayoho ubhayoho senayorubhayoho. Api. Senayoho ubhayoho api senayorubhayorapi. So there is twice visarga becomes retha. Right? So these are the few sandhis. Let us see how the अन्वय sounds. अथ पार्थः उभयोः सेनयोः अपि तत्र स्थितान् पितॄन् पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् तथा सखीन् श्वशुरान् सुहृदः च एव अपश्यत्. Very nice one. You will see. Come a little on top and click on the link on the dictionary. You will see. Because now you will see what this means. Atha, then Partha, Pritha's son, who's Arjuna, son of Pritha, Partha, Tatra, there, Ubhayoho Senayoho api, between both the sides, in both the armies, like, upon the opposite sides, or, in both the armies. Sthita, situated or standing. Pitrun, Pitamahan. Pitrun means people in the generation as Pita, like, which is uncles, like, the older generation people. Pitamahan, the people in generation above that, like, like Bhishmacharya, Bhurishrava, like, a lot of people are there. One generation above. Pitrun means like, people like one generation above, right? So people like Drupada, people like that. Acharyan, like, Acharyan, all the Dronacharyas and all the different teachers. Acharyan, Matulan, maternal, maternal uncles, like, Matulan, mother's brothers, like, Bhratran, all the brotherly cousins, like, the brothers, Putran, all the sons of the next generation people, like, Putran, Pautran, the grandchildren, there are few grandchildren also, the next, Tatha, Sakhin, and also the friends, Shoshuran, okay, people who are the, like, the in-laws, like, father side in-laws, Shoshuran, Suhrudaha, Suhrudaha means Su is good, right? Rutaha, like, dear to us, like, benefactors or friends, like, in general, people who are dear to us. Cha eva apashyat. Cha eva and as well apashyat. Saw. Dekha. Apashyat. Very interesting, right? The same set of people earlier were described as Maheshwasa, Paraneshwasa, okay, Vikrantaha, Savitinjayaha. When the chapter began, the same set of people were described by Sanjaya as people with valor, people who were befitting description that is for the war. Now Sanjaya is explaining the same people as Putran, Shashuran, Pitris, Pitamahan, Acharyan, Matulan. There is a lot of attachment coming. That is something that we need to see, right? So there is a sudden change in the language. Let's quickly get back to the link called the shloka and come below for this shloka, which is Tatra pashyathitan patah pitrinasa pitamahan Acharyan Matulan Kratrim Putram Pautram Sakim Tatha Shwashuran Subhrudaschaiva Senayorhayorapi. You will see the Aurobindo interpretation as then Partha saw standing upon the opposite sides the uncles, the grandsires, the teachers, mothers, brothers, cousins, sons, and the grandsons, the comrades, the father-in-laws, and the benefactors. Right? So suddenly, uh, they all appear like their own. On both the sides, he's only looking at his people. Parameshwasa here, Maheshwasa there. They're all coming as, Bhratras, Putran, Acharya, Shoshuran, Matulan, different names. Right? So see the subtle change in the way description proceeds. Okay, we will quickly see what shloka number 27 has in store. It says, Tan samikshata kaunteya sarvan bandhun avasthitan kripaya paraya vishtu vishidan nidam abraveet. Okay, I think the mood is getting completed here. Let's quickly see what the Padacheda sounds like. If you come below the web page on sloka number 27, in the web link that is given in the room, Padacheda says, Tan samikshya Saha Kaunteyah, Sa Kaunteyah. Tan Samikshataha Kaunteyah becomes Sa Kaunteyah. So Aha in Saha goes missing, Lopa. Kaunteyah Sarvan Bandhun Avasthitan. Kripaya Paraya Vishtah Vishidan Idam Vishidan Idam. So Na, there's an extra Na comes. Navattu Vishidan Idam Vishidan Idam. There's a Nakara, double Na. So Agama, Nakara Agama. Vishidan idam abravi. Idam abravi. It's not a sandhi, it's a samu. Let's see how the Anvaya sounds. Anvaya says, Avasthitan tan sarvan bandhun samikshya saha kaunteyaha paraya kripaya avishtaha vishidan idam abravi. Again, the Anvaya continues in the next because he says something, right? So we will see. We will see more of this. So let's look at the dictionary to make sense of what the Anvaya tries to say. When you click on the dictionary, it says, Avasthitan, having gathered, having seated, having standing, like, assembled, Avasthitan. Tan Sarvam, those all, or all these. Bandhun, all the dear people, kinsmen, but it's actually Bandhun. Bandhu is Bandhu Bandhava, right? So Bandhun is basically the near and dear. So all the Maheshwasa, Parameshwasa, when they become Matulan, Shwashuran, Putran, Pautran, obviously they are all now becoming Bandhu. So there is a lot of attachment coming. Samiksha, see, Niriksha, Aveksha, now Samiksha. See, a lot of Iksha happening, right? Tan Samiksha. Samiksha means having seen, Dekha, like, Saha Kaunteya, that Kaunteya or that Arjuna, Paraya Kripaya, extreme pity, extreme compassion. Kripa. Kripa is basically kripe, right? Kripa is basically compassion, pity. Like, araya, extreme, otherworldly kind of a kripa. Avishta, invaded, filled with it. Avishta is invaded, but being completely filled with it. Vishidan, okay, Vishidan means in Vishama, in Vishama kind of a state. We call this chapter as Arjuna Vishada Yoga for this reason. Vishidan, in sadness and in dejection. Idam Abravi. This speaks, Abravi is uttered. These words he speaks. So I think this is the beginning, right? So one of the things to notice that the repeated number of times the word iksha comes, diriksha, aveksha, saniksha. So lot of indulgence happening, and then there is a change in the language. Parameshwasa, Maheshwasa, Vikranta, Samitinjaya are becoming Masulan, Bandhun, right? So this sloka, which is basically Tan Sanikshasa Kaunteja, Sarvan Bandhun Avasthitan, Kripaya Paraya Vishto, Vishidam Hidam Apraveet. The Aurobindo interpretation says, seeing all these dear to heart kinsmen, why dear to heart, our own people, right? So seeing all these kinsmen, thus standing array, Kaunteya, invaded by great pity, uttered this in sadness and dejection. Right? Very simple. So this section perhaps is until this point in time. This is sloka number 28, 29. Until this point in time, we can say Arjuna's attachment. Suddenly Maheshwasa, Parameshwasa becoming Bandhu. So it is basically now Pandava started very well. The Kaundava started very jittery. There was a beginning from Dhritarashtra, which broke the inertia. So three parts are basically breaking of the inertia. The Kauravas started very, very nervously. The Pandavas started very, very well. And now we are seeing Arjuna getting into attachment. Right? So let us see what the next sloka says. Sloka number 28. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Dristvemam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupasthitam Sidanti Mamagatrani Mukham Chaparishusyati. Very beautiful. I think it can continue. I think it does continue. You will see what the Padacheda sounds like. Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna Uvacha. So that Visarga goes missing, lopa. Dristva imam swajanam, Krishna yuyutsum. So dristva imam dristvemam. Dristva imam like Maha, Isha, Mahesha. So there is a guna sandhi. Dristva imam dristvemam. Dristva imam swajanam, Krishna yuyutsum samupasthitam sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishusyati. No more sandhis. The first word is only sandhi. Dristva imam dristvemam. So the Anvaya, if you come a little above on the same side, Anvaya says, Arjuna Uvacha, Hey Krishna, Samupasthitam Yuyutsum Imam Swajanam Društva Mama Gastrani Sidanti Mukham Parishusyati Cha. Okay, it confirms the transformation is now getting more and more severe. Let's quickly click on the dictionary link on the top. When you click on the dictionary link, you will see the word by word meaning. Okay, Hey Krishna, O Krishna, Samupasthitam, arrayed, some upasthitam, right? So upasthitam means having seated, some very nicely arrayed. Yuyutsum, people who are longing to battle, the same word used by Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsavaha, Yodham Ichuhu, tam, Yuyutsum, those people who are gathered to fight with a lot of enthusiasm, eager to fight. Imam Swajanam, these my own people. Okay, Imam Swajanam, Drištva, okay, having seen, Dekar, Mama Gatrani Sidanti, my Gatrani, my limbs, Sidanti. Sidanti is collapse, but froze, freezes, Sidanti, Shitilatva, freezes, collapses. Mukham Parishusyati, my mouth, my face, Parishusyati, Shoshana. Shoshana is parched or getting completely dry. Parishusyati, getting parched, getting completely dried up, cha also. So now there is something happening in Arjuna. So this shloka is the turning point of the dejection. So attachment starts with a lot of rajoguna. With a lot of rajoguna, he moves on into nirikshe, avekshe, samikshe. And then attachment starts. You'll see all the Maheshwasa, Parameshwasa, Vikranta, Samitinjaya becoming Matulaha, Shashuraha, Putraha, Pahutraha, Pitru, Pitamaha, all of these. And then all those, so Bandhavan, now he is admitting, like, these are all Swajanam, Mama Swajanam, and then the transformation, Mama Gastrani Siddhanti, Mukam cha Parishushati. So the shloka is very nice. It's a transformation, right? Arjuna Uvacha, Drishtvemam Swajanam Krishna, Yujutsun Samupastitam, Siddhanti Mama Gastrani, Mukam cha Parishushati. Let's see what the Aurobindo interpretation says. Hey, Arjuna said, seeing these own people, O Krishna, seeing these my own people, O Krishna, arrayed for the battle very nicely, Sam Upasitam, my limbs collapse and my mouth is getting parched. Right? This is sloka number 28, according to this website. Let's move on. Sloka number 29. Vepatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate Gandivam samsate hastat swakchaiva paridahyate. Okay, very beautiful. I can all describing further and further. Okay, Padacheda says, Vepatuhucha, Vepatuscha. So, Uhu, Visarga becomes Sh. Vepatuhucha, Vepatuscha, Sharire, Me, Roma Harshacha, Roma Harshascha. Again, similar. Aha, Cha, Ashcha. The Visarga Shutva. Jayate. Gandivam Sramsate Astat Twat Cha Eva Chaiva. Again, Vruddhi. Paridahyati. So these are the two sandhis, right? Visarga becomes Sh and then Cha Eva Chaiva Vruddhi. So these are the two types of sandhi we see. When we bring these words in the prose order, the Anvaya sounds like Me Sharire Vepatuhu Cha Roma Harsha Cha Jayate Hastat Gandivam Samsate Twat Cha Paridahyati. So Mama Gastrani Siddhanti Mukam Parishushati Sharire Vepatuhu Roma Harsha Cha Jayate Hastat Gandivam Samsate Twakchaiva Paridahyate. So he's explaining more and more conditions that he is undergoing. Let's see what they mean in the dictionary. When we click on the dictionary, Me Sharire, in my body, Vepatuhu, like quivering, turbulence, like Vepamana, like lot of shaking, earthquake, like kind of a thing, like a lot of turbulence is happening in my body. Roma Harshahata Jayate, my body here is standing upright. Stands on the end, Hasta Gandivam Samsate. From my hand, Gandiva Samsate is slipping, slips, look at this, some time ago, Dhanu Rudyamya, right? He very proudly takes the Udyama. Ut is basically a very upright word, Ut Tishta, Udyoga. Whenever we hear the word Ut, it kind of, it's very, very positive. Dhanuhu Udyamya Pandavaha. Earlier we saw that, right? Sloka number 2021. Dhanu Rudyamya, but now Gandivam Hastat Samsate. My Gandiva is slipping from my hand. Twak is the skin. Skin, cha also, and Paridahyate. Dahana is burning. Paridahyate. It is burning. It seems to be burning. It gets me a feeling of burning. So now more and more physical conditions, right? So the shloka further, outlines more physical conditions that Arjuna is going through. Vepatuscha sharire me, Roma harshascha jayate, Gandivam samtate hastat, Twakchaiva paridahyate. All physical conditions, right? So the Aurobindo interpretation, when we click on the shloka, says, Arjuna says, seeing these own people, O Krishna, my body shakes, my hair stands on the end, my Gandiva slips from my hand, and all my skin seems to be burning. And my body shakes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically completion. So this interpretation takes a little bit from the previous shloka also. Krishna, Swajanam, Drishtva, my body shakes, my hair stands on the end, Gandiva slips from my hand, and all my skin seems to be burning. This is the advice for this shloka. I think there is more. Shloka number 30. We will quickly move on to shloka number 30. Okay. Nacha shaknomyavasthatum Bhramati vachame manaha nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. So Padacheda says, Nacha shaknomi avasthatum, shaknomyavasthatum. So this is mi, a, miya, 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 miya. So it's a natural swara sandhi, right? It's called the yen sandhi, but mi and a becomes mya, like mya. shaknomi avasthatum, shaknomyavasthatum, Bhramati iva Bhramati iva. The Savarna Dirgha. E and E becomes E. There is a Dirgha E. Bhramati iva cha me manaha. Nimittani cha pashyami. Viparitani Keshava. No more sandhis. Right? So Anvaya says, Arjuna uvacha. Me manaha Bhramati iva. Right? Me manaha Bhramati iva cha. Avasthatum cha na shaknomi. He Keshava. Viparitani nimittani cha pashyami. So three more conditions Arjuna is telling. Let's see what they mean when we click on the dictionary. Hey Keshava, Eva, indeed, me manaha Bhramati iva. My mind seems to be whirling. Bhramati, Brahmayam, like whirlpool, going for a toss, going for a spin. My mind is spinning, right? My head starts spinning, you say that, right? Me manaha Bhramati iva. My mind is whirling. My head starts spinning, right? Cha also. Avasthatum cha na shaknomi. To stand firmly, avasthatum, sthatum, to stand up. Cha also, na shaknomi, I'm unable to, right? I'm not able to. Hey Keshava, oh Keshava. So Keshava is a very interesting Keshi demon, the one who slays the Keshi demon, and also Ka Ishava, one who is worshipped by Ka, which is Brahma, and Isha, which is Rudra. So one who is worshipped by both Rudra and Ishvara. So there are different ways in which we can look at them. Maybe we'll ask another interjection from Pravina Bhagini for this little later. Viparitani nimittani, extreme adversities. Like nimittani is obvious sign. Viparitani, ominous signs. Like pashyami, I am able to see ominous, obvious signs. Like I am seeing the evil, adverse omens. Okay, it's a pashyami, I am able to see. I am seeing. So this is the condition Arjuna is explaining. Let's see what the shloka says. This is again. Nacha shaknomyavasthatum Bhramati vachane manaha nimittani cha pashyami viparitani Keshava. So Aurobindo interpretation is quite simple. I am not able to stand and my mind seems to be whirling. Also I see evil omens, O Keshava. Right? So conditions, very, very touchy feeling. The condition that Arjuna is going through is very, very physical in nature. Right? Let's see quickly what sloka number 31 says. Sloka number 31 says, Nacha shreyo nupashyani hatva svajanamahave nakankshe vijayam krishna nacha rajyam sukhani cha. I think in some of the other books, if you refer to the first line becomes the end of another line, other sloka, and the second line becomes the beginning of the current sloka. But let us stick to what is given in this website for consistency's sake, because we are looking at this website. The ordering could be a little different if you look at any other version, or maybe if you look at Gita Press or ISKCON. Some of the versions may go a little here and there. But let us see, these are all continuing to be the situation that Arjuna is undergoing, the physical transformation that is happening in Arjuna, right? Nacha shreyo nupashyami hatva swajana mahave nakankshe vijayam krishna nacha rajyam sukhanicha. This is shloka number 31 according to the website that has been paid to the room. Let's see what the Padacheda says. Nacha shreyaha anupashyami. Shreyaha anupashyami becomes shreyo anupashyami in the first step. Then shreyo anupashyami becomes shreyo anupashyami. So in the first step, aha becomes o, which is the visarga becomes guna, and a of the anupashyami goes missing in the second form. Right? So shreyaha anupashyami becomes shreyo anupashyami with an avagraha, the S mark that's replacing the a. Pashyami hatva swajanam ahave, swajanam ahave. Not a sandhi, just a samoha, right? Just coming together. Nakankshe vijayam krishna nacha rajyam sukhanicha. No more sandhi here. Right? So how does the Anvaya sound? Ahave swajanam hatva cha na shreyaha anupashyani. Hey Krishna, vijayam na kankshe na cha rajyam sukhani cha kankshe. Right? So kankshe is a word that can be repeated a couple of times more. Let's see what the word by word meaning now says. When we look into the dictionary, the same order as the Anvaya. Ahave, in the battle. Swajanam hatva. Swajanam means swajanko marker, killing my own people. Because now all these people have become swajanam. Drishtvemam swajanam. No, he already says that in sloka number 28. So swajanam hatva cha, also by killing my own people, Na Shreyaha Anupashyani. I don't see anything great coming to me, any good happening to me. Hey Krishna, oh Krishna, Krishna, Karshayati iti Krishna, right? So Krishna again, there is a etymological breakdown for every word. That's the way we can see. There's an etymological breakdown for even the word Arjuna. Right? It's not that names can suddenly land out of nowhere. Every word, every letter means something. That's the beauty of our Sanatana culture. Hey Krishna, Vijayam. Nakangshe. I don't have any akanksha. Kangshe means akanksha, right? I don't have any expectation, no desire. Okay. Vijayam nakangshe. I don't desire any victory. Naka rajyam sukhani cha kangshe. I don't want the rajya and the sukha also. I don't desire the rajya, the kingdom and the benefits thereupon. Right? So basically, I don't desire victory. Victory is primarily to get me rajya, and rajya is primarily to get me sukha. Right? So one is leading to the other. So na vijayam kangshe, na cha rajyam cha sukhani cha. I don't desire this victory. I don't desire this kingdom nor the happiness thereof. So this is now Arjuna, right? Slowly we will see the change in tone. Okay, so positive energy leading to a lot of iksha, niriksha, aveksha, samiksha. Attachment slowly comes in. All the Parameshwasa, Maheshwasa, Vikranta, Samitinjaya, Maharatha, all of them become Matula, Pitara, Pitra, Pautra, then Shala, Sambandhinaha. Then suddenly he only says Sarvan Bandhur. Kripaya Avishta, he gets filled with too much of compassion. Then Swajana, all of them become their own, his own, Swajana. Now all physical conditions, Brahmana, all of the Vepatuhu, all the trembling, all the spinning, all of these conditions, drying up of the mouth and, burning of the skin, lot of things. And now suddenly the mind now goes off, away. So let's see what this Aurobind interpretation says. The shloka is Nacha Shreyonu Pashyami Hatva Swajanamahave Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna Nacharajyam Sukhanicha. So Aurobindo interpretation says, nor do I see any good in slaying my own people in the battle. Oh Krishna, I desire not victory, nor the kingdom, nor the pleasure. Right? So transformation, now we see the Vishara getting more and more well articulated. Vishada coming very, very clear, right? Nicely being articulated by himself. Arjuna himself is telling all this. Shloka number 32. We move on to shloka number 32 now. It says, Kim no rajyena govinda, kim bhogai jivitena va, yesha marthe kamchitam no, rajyam bhoga sukhanicha. Very good. The Padacheda says in the same message, Kim Naha Rajyena, Kim Naha Rajyena becomes no Rajyena. So Aha, the Visarga goes O becomes Guna. Kim no Rajyena. Kim Naha Rajyena, Govinda, Kim Bhogaihi Jivitena. Bhogaihi Jivitena, Bhogair Jivitena. So Aha becomes Earth, Bhogaihi Jivitena Va. Bhogair Jivitena Va. Yesham Arthe Kamchitam, Naha Rajyam, no Rajyam. So Naha becomes no. Visarga becomes Guna. So Rajyam Bhogaha Sukhanita. Right? So this is the Padacheda. Bhoga Sukhanita. So a couple of sandhis here. Let's see how the Anvaya sounds. Govinda. Hey Govinda. Naha Rajyena Kim Bhogaihi Jivitena Vakim. Naha Rajyena Kim Bhogaihi Jivitena Vakim. Yesham Arthe Naha Rajyam Bhogaha Sukhanita Kamchitam. Right? So this is something that he's saying. He's asking a question. Let's see what it means when we click on the dictionary. Hey Govinda, oh Govinda. So Govinda, again there is a meaning to this, right? Gam Vindati, like one who delivers the Gam. So it can be earth, can be Vedas, can be protector of the cows or the Vedas or the land. So Govinda. Now beautifully, he's talking about Rajya, right? So Govinda is a very nice word. We will hear more about Govinda, Krishna, Keshava, three names, Pravina Bhagini, will come to you very quickly. Hey Govinda, Naha, oh Govinda, Naha, Asmakam, Naha, Asmakam and Naha are the same. For us, for me, for us, it's a Bahuvachana. For us, Rajyena Kim, what is kingdom? Okay, Bhogaihi Kim, so what is enjoyment? Jivitena working, what is even living, what is even life? Yesha Marthe, for whose sake? Naha Rajyam. Okay, for us this this kingdom, Bhogaha. Okay, all the enjoyments, all the pleasure. Sukhani, all the happiness, also pleasure, also cha, also Kamchitam, desire is being desired. Right? So let us see how the shloka artha interpretation comes from Aurobindo, interpretation. So the shloka is Kimno Rajyena Govinda Kim Bhogai Jivitenava Yeshamarthe Kanchitam No Rajyam Bhoga Sukhancha. Interpretation is what is kingdom to us, O Govinda? What is enjoyment? What is even life? Those kings and kinsmen, our own people, for whose sake we desire the kingdom, enjoyment and pleasure are standing in the battle again. Right? So basically now he's getting a little philosophical also. For whose sake we would need these pleasures, they are standing against us. Our own people are standing against us. Right? So it's a bit of philosophical thing going on. Maybe we'll quickly look at one shloka more and then we will ask for Pravina Bhagini for a quick interjection on the three beautiful names that we heard. Govinda, Keshava, Krishna, and then we will quickly proceed. Okay, shloka number 33, according to this website, and you click on the next, right? So there is a button called the previous and the next, easy toggling, right, between the screens. So please use them. This website is pinned to the room. त इमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः तथैव च पितामहाः. So Padacheda says, te ime ta ime. So a becomes a. Te ime ta ime. Ime avasthitaha. Ime avasthitaha. Te ta ime avasthitaha. Te ime avasthitaha. A goes missing. Right? Avasthitaha. Yuddhe. Yuddhe. Pranam tyaktva. Pranam tyaktva. So sakara agama. So pranam tyaktva becomes pranam tyaktva. So just comes. No, just gets imported from nowhere. त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः तथा एव तथैव. One more वृद्धि संधि. So a becomes I. तथैव च पितामहः. How does the अन्वय sound? ते इमे आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः तथा एव च पितामहाः प्राणान् धनानि च त्यक्त्वा युद्धे अवस्थिताः. Continues from the previous one, right? What is this kingdom? What is this bhoga? What is this sukani? For those people who we desire this kingdom, right? Dot dot dot. So continue. Te ime acharyaha pitaraha putraha tatha eva cha pitamahaha prana dhanani cha tyaktva yuddhe avastitaha. Let's see what it means. The dictionary, when you click on the dictionary, te ime, these, those very people, acharyaha pitaraha putraha, the teachers, the fathers means the elderly people, the father's generation people, uncles, like all the uncles. Putraha, all the children, tatha eva cha pitamaha, and the grand old people. Pranam dhanani cha tyaktva, life and wealth, having given up, having given up any desire for riches and the life, abandoning any desire for the riches and the life. Pranam dhanani cha tyaktva, yuddhe avastita, have arrayed, have come, have come standing in this war. So he is now getting into a complete brahma. Brahmati vacha manaha, right? The head starts spinning, right? That's the condition. Now he's telling, what is this Rajya Bhoga? That is what we heard in the previous shloka, right? What is kingdom? What is Bhoga? What is Sukha? For those people who we want this Rajya Bhoga and Sukha, dot dot dot, in this shloka, the very same Acharyaha, Pitaraha, Putraha, and Pitamaha, all of these people, Prana Dhananicha Tyaktva, Yuddhe Avastitaha. Let's see what Aurobindo interpretation says. Ta ime vasthita yuddhe pranam tyaktva sanani cha acharya pitarah putra tathaiva cha pitamaha. Right? The Aurobindo interpretation says, teachers, fathers, sons, as well as grandsires stand here in this battle, abandoning their life and the riches. Right? So let us see quickly. Okay, one more shloka, and then maybe we will bring in Pravina Bhagini. My apologies. I think the flow. Let us just conclude it in the logical way. The next shloka number 34 says, Shala, Sambandhinasthatha, Etanna Hantumichhami, Gnatopi Madhusudana. I think let's stop here. Right? After this is what? Please, we will stop here and before we bring in Pravina Bhagini. After that, if we have time, we will continue, but we can stop here. So, this sloka, let's see the Padacheda for 34 according to this website. Okay, Padacheda says, Matulaha, Shvashuraha, Pautraha, Shyalaha, Sambandhinaha, Tatha, Sambandhinas Tatha. So, Visarga becomes Sa, like Namahate, Namaste. In front of Ta as a letter, right? It becomes Su. Visarga becomes Namahate, Namaste. Similarly, Sambandhinaha Tatha, Sambandhinas Tatha. एतां न हन्तुम् इच्छामि घ्नतः अपि घ्नतो अपि घ्नतोऽपि. So there is a two-level transformation. घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदना, O Madhusudana. What is the Anvaya sound? Matulaha, Shvashuraha, Pautraha, Shyalaha, Tatha Sambandhinaha. Hey Madhusudana, घ्नतः अपि एतान् हन्तुम् न इच्छामि. So let's see. The dictionary, when you click on the dictionary, it says, not just Acharyaha, Pitaraha, Putraha, as mentioned in sloka number 33. Matulaha, my maternal uncles, mother's brothers. Shvashuraha, my paternal uncles or father-in-law. Pautraha, the grandchildren. Shyalaha, the brother-in-law. Tatha Sambandhinaha, and all other relatives, kith and kin. Hey Madhusudana, okay, four names for him. Krishna, Keshava, Madhusudana, and Govinda. Right? So, hey Madhusudana, Mam Gnataha Api, even if they kill me, even if I am slain, Mam Gnataha, even if my, Hanti, even if they Hanti, even if they kill me, Api, Etam na Hantu Michhami, I do not wish to kill them. That is the Etam, so that's the thing. So let's quickly see what the Aurobind interpretation says. Matula, Shvashura, Pautra, Shala, Sambandhinasthatha, Etam nahantu michhami, Gnatoti Madhusudana. So, Aurobind interpretation, mothers, brothers, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other kith and kin, these I would not consent to slay, though myself slain, O Madhusudana. Though I am myself slain, O Madhusudana. Even if I am murdered, I do not wish to kill them. So you see the transformation happening, right? Brimming with energy. No, pravritte shastra sampate dhanurudyamya pandavaha, somewhere in sloka number 2021. With a lot of pride, he lifts his bow, goes forward. When we look at the Adhyaya 23 of the Bhishma Parv, which is two Adhyaya within Mahabharata, before this first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, a lot of blessings from Durga Devi. And the way he does the Durga Stuti is so beautiful, blessed with so much of Rajoguna, so much of Rajo energy. But unfortunately, he jumps the line. He breaks forward. To do what? To Niriksha, Aveksha, Samiksha, lot of indulgence, mental indulgence. That indulgence makes him completely transform people who are Maheshwata, Parameshwata, Vikranta, Samitinjaya, Maharataha. All of these people start looking like Matulaha, Shvashuraha, Swajanam, Dristvemam Swajanam Krishna, Kripaya Paraya Avishtaha. So see the transformation. Okay, now after that, a lot of physical conditions happen, including things like, Vepatuscha Sharirine, my body is trembling. Okay, Gatrani Sidanti, my limbs are getting statue, getting frozen. Manaha Brahmati, mind is spinning, my head is spinning. And in all of these things, now he says, for whose sake I am going to win the kingdom. And with the kingdom, what is the use of these bhoga and the sukha? For those people that I need this kingdom, bhoga and the sukha, those acharyaha, pitaraha, putraha, pautraha, matulaha, shyalaha, all of these people, they have come in front of the war. Even if I am killed, I don't want to kill them. That is where we stop. Bhagini, my apologies, I want